Well, welcome everyone to this afternoon session on creating a content calendar. I have to tell you, it's one of my favorite topics to talk about because it's such an important element in the work that we do online, and I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to attend today's session and again learn about this critical, important factor of creating and actually implementing, right? Because the creating part's important, but then we've got to implement our content calendar. We're going to talk about that here today as well. It really has to happen if you're going to reach the mandatory goal of getting good content out on a consistent basis online in order to get people into the habit of reading your information. So I really want you to think about this whole habit, right? Because remember that good marketing is about creating habits within other people that get them coming back to your product or service, whether it's online or offline, and all of our work online is with that in mind. Another way to think of it is that we're all looking for information funnels online that we can count on when we need information in that area, and we just can't seem to get enough. The more we get, we seem to need more. So by creating consistent content that speaks to your target audience, we're going to talk about that whole target audience because it's so key in all this. It's getting out to your tribe, as Seth Godin called it in his book, Tribes, and if you haven't read that, I highly recommend it, to really get people to follow the work that you're doing. So by creating we want to create a habit in others, and we need to create the habit within ourselves that we can actually get this critical piece of work done and done consistently. And the content calendar is absolutely step one in getting that to happen. So for those of you who don't know me, I see some familiar faces or names, I'll say. I don't see anybody's faces today, but I see some familiar names. My name is Sherry Ruskis, and I have spent the last 30 years as an entrepreneur here in Boulder County with clients here in Colorado and now across the United States, and actually a few international clients of late also, which has been pretty cool. And I started teaching marketing strategies a couple of years back because I kept finding it to be a major pain point for the small business owners that I work with as a business coach. And little did I know the extent of it, and now spend a good deal of my time sharing the importance of building systems with your marketing efforts, because, again, it's all got our minds spinning, right, that all this that we have to do in marketing today. And when you have a system in place, in order to get any tasks in your business done, it ends up happening on a regular and consistent basis and helps you to build momentum with that year in and year out. And you just, you change it, you refine it, you tune it, but that's what having a system is, and that's really what I've found works for me so well, and I'll share more with you how it's really worked for me. But my goal here today is in our 60 minutes together is to give you food for thought around this topic of creating a content calendar, and then again, actually having you implement it. I can't stress that enough, and I'm sorry, I might be repeating myself on that, but it's really great that we can do all these things, but it's getting it actually done regularly. And I really want to be sure to thank the company who's been pivotal in making an impact in helping small businesses get their message out the door, and is a partner that I work with really quite consistently, and that's Constant Contact. They've helped sponsor this session today and has worked with my organization, the Victory Circles, because they are as passionate as I am about the success of small business entrepreneurs. And you might know them as the email marketing people, and you've seen them on emails you've gotten. Some of you might even be customers of theirs. And I've had the honor of being a customer of theirs for the last 11 years and a partner the last 3 on their experts team that I do along with all the other work that I do, but I've just found it so critical to work together. So let's dive into this and talk about marketing, right? And I think it's no surprise for you to hear me say that marketing has changed, right? As I shared earlier. The good news is that all the changes that have happened are really of benefit to us as small business owners. They may seem overwhelming, but we can now play just like the big guys and working alongside them. And the coolest part of it is what marketing today thrives on is letting us be our authentic self, right? So that's the good news. The bad news is that it can be overwhelming, and how to get our best foot forward when we have, maybe one or two other things that we have to do in running our businesses, right? So what we need to remember is that our good habits in getting content out consistently results in people paying attention to our message, as I said in my opening statement to you guys here this morning, and gals. I hate to always say that when I say just guys. As with any other part of your business, when you do this without putting too much thought into it, just kind of as a knee-jerk reaction, or whenever you get any quote-unquote free time, I'll take care of that, you lose the attention of your customers or potential customers, because what I want you to remember so importantly, we'll talk more about this, it's not just about getting new customers. It's about enriching your current customers when you work with content online, and it's a way for you to reach out and touch them. So what is marketing? Marketing at its core is that we want to elicit a physical and measurable response. We want to create this funnel, if you will, and I want you to look at this funnel on your screen and look at the differences between what I sometimes call marketing on the prowl, right? That we're always looking for the new customer, always, always, always. And then that's on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side is marketing that's more customer focused, right? So I don't know about you, but I would prefer to do it on the right side, where I'm spending the least amount of my time trying to find those customers, the next amount of time converting, but most of my time is spent keeping my customers, because I think we've all been pretty aware of the fact that it takes much less money to keep a customer than to find a customer. So you're going to be much more profitable if you run your funnel as a customer-focused funnel than if you use the left-hand side and always out there trying to find new customers. It's about engagement. Engagement marketing is the new word of mouth that's so important that we all remember. It's very customer-centric, remembering that 90% of your time should be spent, and I think I even have, Yep, here's my next slide here, is that 90% of your time should be spent marketing to your current customers. And this may come as a surprise to you as you think about how your marketing efforts currently are today, but it's what makes engagement marketing such an amazing tool and how you want to look at working with it. So really think about spending 90% of your time with current customers as you build your content calendar, and 10% of the time with new business. And even part of that new business could really come from referrals from that 90%. So here's what marketing isn't for small businesses, right? It's not over-the-top budgets, because we simply don't have them. It's, Super Bowl ads are way out of our reach. And the third thing is it's not pushy emails. If you think about some of the most obnoxious pushy emails that you get from marketeers, most of the time they could care less if you unsubscribe because you're one of a million people on their list, and they really don't care. And so they just keep sending and being obnoxious and pushy and always having that buy attitude whenever they send you an email. And it's my strong belief that those who are winning the game in the small business marketing market today are the ones that are sending good content and that it's relevant to their target audience. So here's what it is. It's about nurturing relationships, those relationships you already have, delivering a consistent message. What do you stand for? What is it that you as an expert know, and what do you stand for that you're consistently sharing in a message? And then the beauty of marketing today is that we can actually get measurable results, whether it's sending people to our website and getting analytics of what they're doing, or through email, and you can get reports of what people are interested in, what subject lines are working, what people are clicking on, etc. So you can actually get measurable results that help you to see what it is that people are interested in. And it's one of the things with online marketing, and as you create a content calendar, and we'll get into this more and need to start to adjust it as you go, is that you see that, maybe they're not responding to this topic at all, and I need to shift it and change it. So it's really about paying full attention all the time. So good content matters. And let me just ask you this. How many people would call yourself a writer that are listening to my voice right now? And if you answered no, I ask you to listen closely to what I'm going to share here with you. When I started writing an email piece that I do called the Victory Letter 14 years ago, I also was not a writer. I desired to be a writer. I knew that writing would be important in the coming years. Little did I know how important. I mean, social media wasn't even a term we used back then, and email marketing was barely a term that we used. But I wanted to be better at it, and really the only time that I had been doing any writing was maybe a little ad copy over the years and correspondence, of course. And with the advent of email, I found myself needing to express myself more in writing. And then in 2001, after a turbulent year of dealing with the economics of the dot-com bust and the devastation of 9/11, I found myself at a place needing to write about something positive every week, something that would make a difference in the lives of my readers, whether it was my family and friends or colleagues and clients at that time. I had moved my business back home, and I was feeling a little bit disconnected and wanting to get something, just to write about something positive every Monday morning. That was my goal when I started the Victory Letters. And really, even if it was the little victories as well as the big victories along the way. And I'll tell you that it began to shape in a way that I never anticipated. Not only did it make me a better writer, it got the people on my list taking notice to what came into their inbox each Monday morning from me. And did people just fall down trying to get it immediately? Absolutely not, because these things do take a little bit of time, and patience is really important in the online marketing game. But it's funny. As a matter of fact, the very first one that I sent out back in 2001, the only person that I heard from was my mother, who told me that I had 3 typos in my letter. So I definitely, slowly started to build it. And it was really about the third letter that I sent out that I started getting feedback from people going, wow, this has been cool that you've been sending this. And it's like you knew what was on my mind, and, just started getting feedback. And that was the fuel that I needed for my fire, and I've been writing them every Monday morning since. And I've had 2 books that I've written on the topic, and I'm getting ready to start my 3rd book right now on the topic of courage, and just so many great things have come from it in so many ways, as well as, and this is the most important one for me today, while my letter goes out to a lot of different people, the people that matter the most are my clients who get this letter, and that it's touching their lives, and I'm reaching out to them once a week, which is, in today's world when we're all so busy and we have a lot of clients is a difficult thing to do. And it's always good content that I want to share, and not a buy from me type attitude. So let's talk about this a little bit more, and what else it matters. So your in your content calendar, the words that you're going to write are important today for many things, from SEO, which is search engine optimization. I always take the Victory Letter, and it goes from my email into my blog each week, and then we put it out on social media. And with that, pictures really matter a lot, and video as well. And I think we all know that video and pictures are really important. And it's amazing to me with the right attitude what you can create. And when you're thinking about things in advance, I always think of it as, it's like a magnet and the power of attraction, that suddenly ideas come to you because I know in my content calendar what is coming up and what I need to do. This photo, I'll just share with you, came out of a victory letter back, it was that same victory letter back in, I guess it was August, and I had taken this picture in my garden from my iPhone, and for us, we use Photoshop to put the words onto our pictures, but there's a couple of great tools I can share with you, and one of them, if you haven't heard of it or used it, it's called Canva, Canva, and it's really excellent for pictures, and they actually have pictures. So if you're just saying, you know what, I just don't like taking pictures, I don't want to take pictures, even though, again, we're all walking around with those phones with pretty amazing picture quality in them, then Canva's great. Or if you have a picture that you want to put some words onto it, put your logo, your branding, etc., then I really highly recommend Canva, and also PicMonkey, P-I-C Monkey, is another really great one to utilize as well. And Canva's pictures, and PicMonkey, I think, is actually free. I don't use it that much anymore, but I know Canva, you can get great pictures for like $1 a picture, so it's really a great deal. And then, again, we use this picture over on our webpage and, of course, social media. And speaking of social media, we want everything we do with this content then flowing into our social media options that we're doing. So my favorite social media platform right now, I'll tell you, is Pinterest, because I really like the way that Pinterest plays the game. We're definitely over on Facebook, of course, on my personal page and on our business page for the Victory Circles, but Pinterest is, they just engage well, and it's really going to my target audience, which is women entrepreneurs, and I just love it in so many ways. So looking at how you're going to get out there and get that social proof as well. And you could tell from some of my pictures I love to garden, so I'm able to share that in a lot that I do out there on social media for my business as well as a business coach and the mastermind programs that we provide. So really look at how you can multi-purpose everything that you do within your content calendar. So here's what I want you to think about, is to take your important elements of your business and divide it by 12, right? So, and that stands for the 12 months of the year. So what I'd love for you to do, if you've got a piece of paper handy, or, maybe open a new document in your computer and number it from 1 to 12. And again, they're going to represent each calendar month of the year starting in January. And that's really a great place, as simplistic as it sounds, to start off with creating your content calendar. Then I want you to think about, before we dive into this, what do you write about? The first thing is, what's important to you, and what's the purpose of what you're writing? What is it you want them to do is always a big message I'd like to give out there. What do you want your audience to do with this information? And like I said, when I started the Victory Letters, it was about, something positive every Monday morning, that I wanted people to remember those victories and get them, because my belief in my work as a coach is mindset's everything, right? And if you can't even find something to feel victorious about, it's hard to get going with much of the other things that you have to do in running a small business. So that's really where my focus was and has remained all these years with what I give out. So what do you know in your business that they don't know? What do you have access to that they don't, right? Might be industry information, all kinds of things. Again, thinking about the funnels that you belong to. So how do you gather up that information? And then finally, what can you share? And again, remembering that original isn't required. I like to share that it wasn't that long ago that I shared in the Victory Letter the Dalai Lama's Lessons for Life. He has these Lessons for Life that I had seen on a poster. I thought they were so cool, so I shared them. Of course, I gave the Dalai Lama full credit for that. And I was amazed at the responses from that particular victory letter, that people just loved it and just really got a lot of interaction happening. So again, when you see things that you love, and it's one of the things that we all have access to, right, is a lot of information that we, sharing is gold on social media. Right, it's the shares that matter. Likes are nice, but shares are the gold when it comes to social media. So really taking a look at that and what you can share as you look at your content calendar. And again, I find it so fascinating that when I have these ideas in mind, that things are just they come to me, and it's like almost like somebody just gifted it to me because it was exactly what I was looking for. So let's take a look again, remembering that engagement is the marketing piece that our target audience wants to hear. What do they want to hear? And really being clear about who your target audience is. And if you're listening to me right now and you kind of know or you're not really sure, I would make that one of your first jobs of really looking at who your target audience is. Those people who, look at your top 10 or your top 20 customers and what are the similarities that they have, whether it's geographic, demographic, whatever that is that really makes them, that there's that similarity about them. Like I said, mine happen to be women entrepreneurs, pretty much from the age of 30 to 60, and there's a variety of other things that I find that my target audience is interested in. That way you know their likes, their dislikes, their ups, their downs. It doesn't mean that you don't do business with other people. It means that you are focused on those people. Do I do business with do I have clients who are men who maybe don't fall in those demographics? Absolutely. But it's those that in my marketing efforts that I'm focused towards. So really keep that in mind and make sure if you don't have it that you do get your target audience. So I want to start with my content calendar, and I'm going to use that as an outline for as we go through the months of the year. And for me, what has become my content calendar, I didn't start this way necessarily when I started the Victory Letter all those years ago, but when I founded the Victory Circles in 2006 with the mastermind forums that we do with entrepreneurs, I really started working with the principles from Napoleon Hill's Law of Success, right? I loved his work, and I decided that would be the curriculum that would guide our organization. And so, all right, something's telling me that audio is unavailable, and could you guys let me know in the chat if you can hear me? And okay, so we're good. I don't know why that just came up, but we'll just keep going. Thanks so much for letting me know, Patricia, Lawrence, et cetera. Thank you. All right, great. We'll keep going. So, what we did in the Victory Circles is that we took 11 of Napoleon's principles, and then I added the 12th, which is honoring time, and we'll get to that here in March. And I made that my content calendar because it goes through it aligns with our curriculum that we're going through every month. And as I said, my clients are the most important thing, so they're doing the work anyway, going through our curriculum. So everything I write about in the Victory Letters, for example, in the month of January, is all around your definite chief aim. And for our purpose here today, I am going to actually use this as we go through this as an outline of what to think about for your content calendar. So I want you to think about, as you look at the month of January, for example, what are the important elements that you need to look at during the month of January? What's the message that your target audience needs to hear? What is the purpose and the passion of your organization that you want to share? What is that? And then what is the pain of your target audience? What is it that they're feeling that you should be addressing? All right. And then moving into February, we talk about self-confidence. For us, it's a great time of the year because, January, well, everyone was, we look at our goals and all that. February, we kind of freeze up and like, now what? The rush of the new year is over. Now what? So thinking about self-confidence as you build your calendar, what's the boldest message that you can share today? And sometimes with your content, you need to be bold. It's the boldest marketeers that get their message heard the loudest. So really asking yourself that. How do you currently differentiate yourself from your competitors with that self-confidence? What makes you stand out? And you should be building that into your content calendar as well. And what is the secret that most people don't know about your business or your industry that you could be the one helping them to discover, right? Moving into March, we use the mastermind principle, as I was saying, of honoring time. This is the one that I added to the mix. And so our time is so important to us and to our target audience. And how often do you find yourself saying, I don't have time to create this content? I hear it so often in live workshops that I do and working with my clients. It's like, this is all well and good. I just don't have the time to create this content. What I'm going to tell you is that you do have time to create the content calendar. And even if you give this to someone else within your organization to do, or even job it out to someone outside of your organization, by you creating the content calendar or as a team collectively, you're creating this content calendar, it really speaks to the voice of your organization. So often in social media, et cetera, I see people just hand it off, and then their message isn't really authentically them, and it's just this very canned, unrealistic thing. So keep that in mind. Asking yourself, do you schedule time blocks for creating content? So I schedule my time to write the victory letter every week. I used to write it Monday morning for many, many, many years. I wrote it Monday morning live. I had the ideas about it. Might write it Sunday night if I knew that I was going to be out of town or something, but it was something that I enjoyed doing. It was just maybe even the pressure of it I liked, I don't know. But now I'll usually write it earlier and then hand it off to my assistant to edit, and then he gets it out the door for me. So but it's really putting that time on my calendar. And what I love about it, it's a writing date that I make with myself every week that I enjoy so much. It only makes me, again, better and better at the craft of writing, which I think all of us we need to be good at in this day and age that we're in. And then number 3 under this is, what if you had a simple content funnel for always catching your ideas, right? Because so often I see people sit down, okay, I got to get this, quote unquote newsletter out the door. I'm going to sit down and I just got to figure out what I'm going to write about. What I do is that I take a Word document, and so in addition to, which is where my content calendar lives, and so in addition to knowing that what I'm writing about each month of the year, I also, as ideas come to me, sometimes I'll write them down on a sticky note if I'm out and about or, rushing around, not at my computer, and then I get my sticky notes together and I throw them into a file that I just call Victory Letter Notes. And under that month, so that when I sit down to write, I've already got ideas flowing. And then it's in my mind and I'm actually present. I mean, that's how I catch some pictures, because I'm like, oh, that would be so awesome for, next week's picture or the week after that or whatever. And most weeks now I've got so many ideas in advance. I mean, I think I'm pretty much through the end of the year of my ideas because they just start flowing. It really helps. That content funnel for catching those ideas really does make a difference. I'm seeing some questions over in the chat, and I want to be cognizant of answering as we go here. And yes, these, if you would like these slides from me, just because they're large files, I'm not going to send them out to everybody. But if you're interested, please, I'll show my email at the end, and please feel free to email me, and I'll get them over to you. So I would be happy to do that. No problem there. All right, so that's what we do in March. Come April on our content calendar, we talk about self-control, the mastermind principle of self-control with money. So what would be yours? And then around the whole idea of money in a content calendar, asking that question about what is your current marketing budget. I like to ask that a lot because I find so often not only do people not have a content calendar, they don't have a marketing plan, and they don't have a marketing budget. But what your marketing budget should be 10% of your gross revenues. So really looking at how much time you're spending as part of that budget. So if you're charging $150 an hour for your time, you should be counting that if you're sitting down and doing this work, because it really is taking up that time. The second item you see here is, do you fully understand the value of content marketing from email to social media? And I hope that I'm sharing that with you here today because it's invaluable. I can't tell you how many times I have had somebody who's been on my list for years sometimes, and the week comes when I've just talked about something that hits them in the pain point that just knocks them between the eyes, and they pick up the phone or send me an email, and we start doing business together. Or a client that has, just been continuing to get my victory letter, but for whatever reason we're not doing business right now, and they come back and start doing business with me again. So again, it's just reaching out and touching people in such a valuable way, and again, then reusing that and repurposing that content in a number of different ways. And for me, again, as I shared, I've done a couple of books, and it's just been an amazing value to me in my business. Number 3 is, how much value do you bring to the readers of your content? And really looking at that whole value and why they value reading it. And if you're in that buy from me attitude, you'll find that it doesn't take you very far for very long, and pretty soon people just start unsubscribing from your list. In May, we talk about leadership and really think about your role as a leader and the expertise that you bring to the marketplace. It's so important that that message gets conveyed in your content calendar in the words that you're getting out there. How do others perceive you as a leader as you go? And then what is the change that you want to see happen in your industry? In June, we talk about the mastermind principle of imagination. It's one of my funnest months. I love creativity. I love imagination. It's just, I think, one of the greatest gifts that we've been given. And we can do so much with it online. And, do you put time aside for creativity in your business? And sometimes I think that we think it's a little too frivolous, right? I'm having too much fun doing this. It should be hard work, but it's so important, and it's so critical in your content calendar. How do you do your best ideas currently? How do they come to you, right, today? And then number 3, what sparks your imagination to come up with these new ideas or innovations within your business? Really, really important. July, while we get into the mastermind principle of unique personality, I'll ask you these questions about how you come to your content calendars. What makes you and or your company original? What's your unique selling proposition that you use? How often do you let others fully see the gifts of your personality? And who are you really? Really, who are you a company, and how do people perceive that? Do they perceive you for who you feel that you really are? In August, we get into the mastermind principle of accurate thinking. And again, everything I write about during the month of August is about accurate thinking. What's pretty cool about all of this, I haven't said this so far either, but what I love about coming back to these same, for our content calendar, these same things over and over again, is that I am mastering these different principles for our organization. And it's amazing. You'd think that, after all these years, almost 10 years now for me writing about accurate thinking, that I would run out of things to write about since I send it out once a week, right? So at least 4 times a year I'm writing about accurate thinking, and I never do. I'm always feeding that funnel. So getting back to time blocking, when do you schedule time to actually think about the importance of your content? Do you have any rituals around thinking, such as meditation? I'm a huge meditation lover, and I tell you, when I started doing it a few years back, it totally changed my life in so many ways, from stress levels to being able to do this principle of accurate thinking. And then how do you currently decide on what content to use? Is it because it's the only content available, or is it because you actually, it's in your calendar, it's strategically planned how to use this? September, we get into the mastermind principle of concentration. And so you think that thinking and concentration would be the same, but they're really quite different. And it's giving yourself time to create content and eliminating other distractions. It does go back to that time blocking, right? And it's amazing in the course of a day how many distractions with today's devices and everything we have going on that really comes into our life. If we have family around us or whatever is going on in our world, I mean, it just seems like it's a constant distraction. So giving yourself time blocks that you can get away. I mean, some people like to go to a coffee house and that's where they find their time to write. For me, it's not so good because I'm too distracted. I like people watching, and I tend to get distracted by people around me. So, it's just sitting in my office or different places that I love to write that really make a big difference for me. The second is, do you actually give yourself enough time to get the content written, right? Do you give yourself 20 minutes to do something that at least should take you an hour? I like to give myself right around 2 hours from start to finish, and being able to come back and look at it with a fresh mind. And we also have different times of the day that we, write better than we do at other times of the day. Some of us are night owls. I myself am, I like to get up, and I actually have started a new writing practice for myself of writing for the first 2 hours. I get up at 5 a.m. and I write from 5, I meditate, and then I write from 5:30 to 7:30 almost every morning. I do get interruptions, let me just tell you, but that's my focus, and that's what I try to do. Again, and then saying what is the noise that's currently getting in your way, and then what can you do to eliminate that, whether it's telling people, hey, I am in a do not disturb mode, please do not bother me while I'm in this mode, whatever it is that really works for you. And again, not trying to do writing in the middle of the day when you know you'll get 15 interruptions. And then in October, we talk about the mastermind principle of cooperation. And this is a great one for content. Again, like I said before, you don't have to be original. You can bring in others' ideas, or you can actually bring in, guest bloggers. You can be a guest blogger for somebody else's information. You can share your content on other people's networks. You can share email lists with people who are partners with you. I mean, I'm coming to you today because of, for some of you have come from my network, some are coming from Constant Contact's network, and we're coming together in cooperation to share a message that we both, Constant Contact feels is important, and I feel is really important in getting your content calendar done. So don't forget about that cooperation piece and who can help you along with it. It might even be a team that you can, especially, creating the content calendar. Maybe you get a focus group together, right? And you ask, what are the important elements that I should be sharing? You could have some customers in it, some vendors, people from your industry, whoever you think is important to help you create this content calendar and the message that your marketing is going to get out, month after month, year after year. So who can you get to partner with you to get that message out the door? And then in November, we talk about profiting from failure. The whole thing with this principle is failure really doesn't happen unless you don't do anything. And that's where the failure happens. Yeah, we fall down. I've had a few fall downs and skinned knees along my way. Like I told you, the first victory letter, right? I was like, oh my gosh, nobody's responding. My mother telling me, typo, Sherry, and our whether you call it monkey mind, your inner critic, whatever, but we tell ourselves things. And so it's really getting in the game. There's been many a time that I've hit that send button, my finger shaking a little bit because I'm, like, is this too personal? Is this too this or this too that? And it's usually those that I get the most feedback from. So what scares you the most about creating your own original content, or what stopped you in this whole idea around failure and, stopped you in your tracks? What do you have? What obstacle do you need to jump over in this whole fear piece? And that comes with failure. We're getting into that topic here coming up next month, and I like I said, I have so many things to talk about because so many things have come across my path, even in the last 30 days on this topic that are just so relevant. They're current, they're today, and they're relevant to share with my readers. And really, what is the worst thing that could happen if you sent out less than perfect content? I don't say it's a good idea to have typos. That's never a good idea. But things happen. We're human. People move on. I would always proof it, have somebody else proof your final that goes out the door. And, in Constant Contact, they have a preview screen that you can check all your links to make sure they're working right. I really encourage you to get that. But it's better to do that less perfect than not to do it at all, is what I want to say. And then finally in December, I'll write about the mastermind, and I have been writing about the mastermind principle of fully giving. And that's the whole piece of this, is remembering that givers get. And how can you give to the people on your list? It's the reward on the list. It's not this gimme. I'm going to send an email because, sales are slow, and I'm going to get an email out the door because sales are slow. If you work with that mentality, it will be like pulling teeth. I promise you that. Just really, what's the reward to your organization by people reading the good content, the things that you have to share, and then giving, always. And it isn't immediate. It might just be that you feel good about it. I feel good about when I send out a good piece that I know is going to change people's lives. And more than somebody ordering or sending me money, it's when somebody says to me, thank you for changing my life, because this just made a huge difference in something that has been weighing heavy on my heart, or whatever, the many messages that I've gotten over the years. That, to me, is the receiving and the gift that I get in all of this. So, that's different for each of us, so I would keep that piece in mind. All right, so that's our content calendar and some tips, for getting the content out there. I would really encourage you, and maybe even just take 5 minutes after the call today. I've got a lot more tips here to share with you here. We've got about 15 minutes more to go, and I've got more tips to share with you. But as we talk, just continue to write down, what are the things that I want to share, that I want to get out about our organization. Maybe it's things that people don't even know about your organization, whichever that is. So this slide says, grow to love Mondays. And at the end of it all, what I really created this slide for was to get you to love whatever day of the week, or it might be biweekly or it might be monthly, that you send out your email messages or get your content out on social media or via your blog, on your website. But grow to enjoy it instead of making it this thing of dread. As I've shared, I really do enjoy doing this. And there's a thing in writing that I have come to learn over the years, and it's about your conscious and your unconscious mind when it comes to writing. And when you get out of your own way and you have some of these tips and tools in place, there's many a time I'm at my keyboard and I look at my computer screen and I just go, where in the world did that just come from? And the answer, of course, is it came from my unconscious mind. I got out of my way, and all those millions of ideas that have been circulating through my brain all these years I've been on the planet just come to life. And that's when writer's block is no more, in my opinion, is that just because I'm just letting it happen, and I'm growing to love Mondays. I'm not dreading it and sitting down at my computer going, I've got to get this out, and this is just a bummer, and I don't want to do this. I really enjoy the process, and I actually look forward to the process at this point in time, and I really encourage you to look at that. And really, again, what the difference is that the message is that you're getting out into the world. And in my saying all of this, and if you're still sitting there saying, I just don't want to write, I can't write, I don't want to write, then indeed, as I've mentioned before, hire someone to do it for you, but you've got to build the content calendar. Don't let them build it for you, because it's your message that you need to be sharing with the world. I know there's people from a lot of different avenues that are listening right now, and I just encourage you to, get that message out that's most important to you at this point in time. All right. So with that said, I want to share with you the 5 elements of rich content, right? Oops, I went a little fast there. Let me go back. Finger got a little happy there. So a great quote from Robin Williams, it's shared on the screen, is that no matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world. And just think about the words that you may have read along the way that have changed your life. So there's 5 essentials to rich content. The first one, we've been talking about it, it's enrichment, right? That you're enriching them, you're giving them something of value. The second is endurance, that you're not just going to do an email for a week and, I don't feel like doing this anymore, or you get distracted or whatever. If you're going to put your stake in the sand, put your stake in the sand and go for it. And really, it takes patience and endurance. Those that are succeeding in this game of online marketing are ones that have really been around for a while. And everybody has to start somewhere, right? And number 3 is remember that engagement piece. You want to create these two-way conversations. When you're out there on social media, you want to be having two-way conversations, not just out there posting for one reason or another. Number 4 we've talked about is expertise, what you know and what they don't know. And the 5th one is edutainment, right? This is the one where be funny, be some way be entertaining, however that is for you and what works for you. But one of the reasons we're all online as much as we are, which, we're on a lot, and there's a lot of stats out there about how much we're online, is because we do want to be entertained. It's why we go to YouTube, right, to get one piece of information, and we are off and running in many different directions because we're finding things of interest in other areas. So remember that edutainment piece, and let your piece of content be that thing that gets somebody off and running in a direction they hadn't expected to go with your information. And I want to share with you just a quick overview, moving into our last 10 minutes. And if you have any questions, I know I've shared a lot of information with you, but if you have any questions, please type it in the chat, and I'd be happy to answer those for you as we go here. But I went ahead and grabbed this information we have an online program called Effective Email Marketing. I'm not here to sell you the program, but I thought it would be great to show you this as this element of the program. Number 1 is your message. Create content strategies and insights as to what works and what doesn't work, right? So we're going to fall down, we're going to get up. What works, what doesn't work for your content. Get clarity on your short-term and long-term strategies. That includes your goals. Again, asking that question, what is it that you want them to do? What is in the long run that you want someone to do? When do you borrow content and when do you create fresh content? And that all gets intertwined into your content calendar. Understand in your content calendar as well, and as you're writing the actual content, the keywords and subject lines that get opened. Keywords, you can go into Google, and I would highly recommend that you go into Google. When you go in through, let's say, Firefox, you can actually go in through, what do they call it? They call it a new private window, so that it's not picking up all your cookies and all of that in your computer. It's under your file tab, and you go into new private window. And then do some searches that you think might come up, and you'll see the words come up right in the search of what other people have been searching. That's the easiest way. Keywords is a whole another topic and a session all into itself, but there's some basic things you can do with keywords, and then subject lines are kind of a hit and miss as you go, but know that the shorter the better. You don't want it running off the page, and even I don't know if this is in the next slide, but even, your preview, when you look and people see that the first few words that are coming into your message, what does that look like, and is that engaging people or not? If you have canned messages in there, like email can be opened in a browser, whichever, or you're getting this message because instantly people know that it's an email blast, and it can be a big turnoff. So that needs to be important as well. All right, so then in Module 2, we talk about the audience. Again, we've talked about this critical piece of understanding your target audience, looking at where to start and expand your current lists. Your list is so important. I recently had somebody say to me, I just don't think we're going to do the email marketing piece of all of this. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't do email marketing as part of your online marketing mix, you're missing a big piece of the boat, and I would highly recommend that you don't just exit out as I don't want to do it, because email is still one of the strongest ways to get your message out into the world. And then have different lists depending on, you may have a wholesale and a retail side of your business, or, you can create interest lists based on people who have clicked on something in the past, and there's all kinds of ways that you can do that. You can do an opt-in on your website, on your homepage, have people that you're giving away something for people to just to say sign up for our newsletter isn't always the most engaging way to grow your list. But you want to look at ways to grow your list. I know that we do sessions quite a bit about that as well, but looking at ways to expand your current list. People are going to unsubscribe. Going back to that profiting from failures, right? If you're afraid to send anything out because somebody might unsubscribe, that's fine, but then no one's getting your message. So people will unsubscribe. It's all part of it. We all have those days where we're like, enough, I've had and we're just not getting enough. They may not be your target audience, so they should be off your list because they're really not anybody that matters. So, knowing that unsubscribes will happen, and that's why you want to continue to grow your list as you go. And then as we talked about too, engage with those joint venture partners for promotional launches or events with industry leaders. That can just do amazing things to help you along your way. Then there's the next element of the look, right? Embrace your brand in the email template that you choose and consistently use that template. We changed the victory letter template by season, right? So, we just changed over to the fall season, and, so we'll do that once a quarter, but all of our branding is still the same. We still have the same elements of it so that people recognize it. It's that whole know, like, and trust factor. And then explore options. It's for those of you who are using Constant Contact, use the options in their technology to help you get the look the way you want it to do. We've just got a brand new editor that's amazing, and so there's so many things that you can do. And I'll tell you at the end here in just a few. If you aren't currently using Constant Contact, there's a way for you to get a 60-day free trial. So take a look at that. But there's using an email service like that, Constant Contact. I love Constant Contact because they have actually live customer service that's nice, friendly, and available without long holds. Amazing in the world that we live in today. And then, look at your current layout and remember what's working and what's not, and think mobile. Like, you've got to remember that the day of the 3-column newsletter are over, single column is in, and really remember that, a great deal of people, 65% of us are on mobile phones, if not higher at this point of the game. Again, looking back at that list, learn the psychology behind opt-ins, and all of this, kind of think of it as your to-do list, right? And understanding how that works. Hopefully you have a beautiful website. If you don't, I haven't said this, I don't think, so far today, is you should be driving traffic to your website, and if your website is not up to par or where you want it to be, that should be job number one in getting everything done. I have a lot more to say about that, but because of time, I won't. But, even if it's a basic page, to have it better than something that looks archaic and not really well represented of your company. There's what's called autoresponder campaigns that when somebody signs up, that they can get automated emails from you within the system. And then testing. Remember that it's all about your marketing laboratory, as I like to think of it. It's like products and services that you create. You've got to, be a little innovative with that, and the same goes with this. And then the results. So with all of this, what will help drive your content calendar is looking at the reports once you start sending things out. Understand, and there's reports again within your web development piece and your website with the analytics, as well as with your email marketing. It gives you all kinds of information, what times of day people are opening it up, etc. Understanding how search engine optimization, SEO, plays into your email, and that whole becoming a blog and giving you fresh content on your site. Look at what open and click-through rates mean when people actually open your emails and click through to the topics that you want them to look at, which again is hopefully you're sending everyone over to your website, and then how to measure and again adjust your results. And then finally, in all of this, it's creating a system that delivers consistently and moving towards long-term success for years to come, taking this in bite-sized pieces, moving forward with it, and making your system duplicatable no matter who's doing it. So as your business grows, you may hand this off to somebody else. You may hand it off today, but it's making sure that it's duplicatable so that who's ever doing it can easily, if they're gone for whatever reason, that you can easily keep the consistency going. That's so important. Doesn't mean that you have to do all of this yourself. And as you get clear on who will do what in creating your marketing plan and this calendar, that is just the foundation of it. All right. So, okay, I think I've delivered it all. I don't see any questions over in the chat. If you have any, go ahead and throw it in. We've got about 3 minutes here. I encourage you to go over to victorycircles.com/resources. And on that page, we have a number of things that help you from website development to, getting that 60-day free trial that I talked to you about with Constant Contact. Highly recommend you do that. There's no, with that 60-day free trial, no credit card required. You just go in and play around with it. One of the cool things when you do that is that you can actually get a coach from the Constant Contact team to help you walk through this initial phase of it at no additional cost to you. It's just part of what Constant Contact does, which I love working with them so much. Reach out to me on social media. Would love to meet you more, and please feel free to email me as well at Sherry@businessvictories.com. Kim, hello, Kim. I haven't seen your name in a long time, so awesome to see it here. What do you think of the idea of different content for different vehicles, et cetera, Instagram, Facebook, et cetera? All right, so I get this question a lot lately because I know there's different camps on this, and some people say you should absolutely not cross over platforms with the same content. I am in disagreement of this in this light, and here's what I want to share with you. If it means you're not getting any content over to another platform because of that, and make it in a different form. You can make it look a little differently. I, like to do my Facebook posts myself through Instagram and then let them come up to Facebook that way. Again, all we really share on Pinterest is our picture of the week from our email and say something a little bit different over. So you can change it up just a little bit, just so that it's not the same thing. But here's the thing that I want to say. Constant Contact is even partnering up with Facebook right now so that you can upload your email list into Facebook and have the people that are on your email list that maybe missed it for whatever reason in their inbox. They're now going to see it on their feed, that it will come up in their feed on Facebook. Kind of a cool new change in technology on that. So I don't believe they would be doing that if it was just bad news to do exactly the same thing because you think of it even for yourself. I don't always catch stuff over on Instagram. I don't always catch it on Facebook. I definitely don't always catch it on Twitter because it moves way too fast for me. So the key point is getting out there, Kim, and for everyone else, I really want to say that's most important, is that you're getting your messages out there on a regular basis. So with that, I would love to hear back from you. I would love to get an email if you would be so inclined, just to tell me one step that you're going to take today to make a difference, to get this content calendar working for you and to make your online marketing world a better place for you to be in, right? So that you're enjoying it and you're making it happen for you, your business, your clients, et cetera, because you're different. Your message can make a big difference in the world. I thank everybody for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you or talking to you sometime soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.